Okay, let's look at the same example we have been looking also in the dollar Swiss franc to 40 daily. So let's look at this first breach. We didn't actually look at this breach at the time, but we can see that this seller pushed down. It made this kind of a V formation, but from the daily. Okay, this is not our trading time frame. And then we see this test and it breached above. Okay, so we breached above this area from the daily. We actually breached, tried to come back, but we hold here. And from this picture, try to see from this picture in the left, where is the V formation and where is the 100% rest? Because it might not be the same. Okay, this is really important for you to see this, to see how would you approach this, this perspective. Okay, so we went above here. We're just ignoring that area there. So we went above and we are trying to come lower. And we are trying to challenge this guy. This is the guy who started, right? Down there. When we push down so hard, you can see that the seller didn't rest up until this point. So it goes higher, goes lower. This is all pauses, okay? This is not rests here. So it goes lower and then it goes higher, okay? This is the rest here, 100% rest. Is this a V? No. Okay? Because you don't have breaches before this. So the guy who started for the sell is up there still. So the V is not here. And for us to get the V, we need to challenge this guy. And that happens only when we are up there. Okay? So if we don't have breaches, we can't be really looking for V formations, because we will see them. They will be small, but those V formations will actually be rests, okay, from the rubber band man. So we know that he rested here, and then you have the test. First test, rests 100% again, right? But you can pick it up there. So you need to wait for it to perform or to do the opposite. And it did the opposite. And the seller pushed down hard from below this breach line. And at this point, you can't really gauge anything because this buyer didn't run actually. Because the seller rested, right? And this is the buyer's turn. And the buyer went there, but it rested 100% again. So it's not a seller's territory. It's not a seller momentum. It's not a buyer momentum. So it's just ranging here. So we need to see that seller, because this is the seller again. You need to see the seller resting again. It rested here. Okay. I'm getting it this bigger. Okay. It rested here 100% from there to there. So it rested all this. And when it rested, look at what happens in the test. Okay. Slowly coming down. A lot of wicks here. This eventually could be your buy. Okay. Because this would be your V formation, which is not a V formation, okay? Because our real V would be this one. Okay, from this perspective, that would be our real V, because you don't have breaks from this time frame. So this would be the miniature picture, and you would be looking at this miniature picture. Why? Because you are operating inside the areas of interest, okay? Near the breach line or near the guy who started. Okay, don't forget this. Then we breached above. Okay, we already seen this. We already analyzed this trade actually. We will look at the V formations and all of that. So in here, so we will be looking at both of them actually. Let's try to look at both of them. So you will be looking for a V formation or for the rest here and where you would put the buy. And the same here. Okay, just pause the video, try to look at that area, try to look where would be the best spot to go in. Okay. Okay, so Here we have some momentum, okay? We broke below this area. We broke again. We broke again. And after this, we didn't break anything else, okay? This here is not the break. It comes back, okay? And the V formation, to be formed, it needs to be from this guy over here, which means only there it happens, okay? So there's two possibilities here. One more risky and one less risky. Okay, the first one is this one, okay? Because this seller came down, rested this small bit, tried to come down again, rested a lot, okay? But this one is really risky because you need to be counting this small green candle as a pause, which can actually be because this is actually a big push from here to here, almost 15-20% from the big push down, even though the candle is so small, but it is a push. So this eventually could be your 100% rest, and this would be your test, okay? And when this buyer is starting to show up again and not letting the seller go lower, okay, maybe, okay? But this is risky. Understand this. You should be waiting for the V. But for the V, you need this kind of V, okay? This kind of V. And what kind of V formation is this? Okay? Went above the guy who started. This is also a breach, okay? When you have this kind of lopsided V formation, this is actually a breach, right? That's why it's lopsided. It breached above. So when it breaches above, what are you expecting usually if you were looking at this in a lower time frame? You are looking for it to revert from the breach line, right? Look at what happens. This would be your V formation buy. It wouldn't be the best because if we were looking to buy this, let's just check this. If we were looking to buy this up to the max threshold there, and this below the V, this would be a really bad trade, right? Because it's all the way up there. So that's not a possibility for a trade. But I'm just trying to see you focus on this kind of details because it's really important for you to have taken out the V, because if you're not so sure of this activity down here, you need to wait for the V. Okay, but not always the wait will give you a good trade, because sometimes it just holds above the V, and the trade is trapped inside an area that is really hard to go out. Okay, so let's look at the other one. So at this area we breached below. We breached below again here. Okay, this is the guy who started. And then we breached below again. Okay, this is actually a breach. Okay, because the max threshold should be around here. This actually is a breach from this time frame. Okay, breached below. Tried to go above, breached below again. There's a lot of time here. Even with the wicks, there's a lot of time here. Okay, so this actually breached below. And the guy who started is this one. This guy here, this one, from the mini picture. And this one, actually, this V here is this one, okay? I'm using the same lines to be clear. This is the V. So this here is a good trade to pick up, especially when it starts to hold, because this area here also has this mini SNR from the mini picture, okay? So there's an area of interest, not from this time frame, from the lower time frames, but doesn't really matter from this picture, because you can see that this V was complete and this seller is struggling to go down. Okay, this would be the best one to pick. Okay, now that is the V. Here you have the V, and you have the V on a good position, because if you were to enter down here, the stop loss would be there and the take profit would be the highest points here. okay, these highest points. Because the rests, they happen before, okay? This is the full rest, but look at what happens when you are looking at these full rests in areas that are not the areas of interest, okay? The breach line is here, and this rest is happening here. Look at what happens. Boom. It pushes even further. And then it doesn't rest, doesn't rest, doesn't rest, and it rests 100%. Okay, if you are looking at this as 100% rest, then it's fine. Okay, this one is happening in an area of no interest. Okay, this is not the breach line. So what happens usually, if you pick up this kind of rests from here, what happens is usually it's that the test will go boom all the way down. Okay, I hope you like this example. Cheers.